You know, everyone at one point or another thinks about what it would be like to have superpowers. Some people want to be heroes, others want to be villains, and some just want to be a lazy fuck. Personally, that last one hits home. Welcome, friends. I'm Merlin with a Y, a certain famous wizard's less talented but more attractive cousin, and I'm here to talk about another dungeon/gate solo leveling clone on Webtoon. And I do mean clone. This is Auto Hunting with My Clones, and I want to talk about it because I am getting really tired of these necromancers in Manhwa. I mean seriously, Seoul Station's Necromancer, Boundless Necromancer, Catastrophic Necromancer, Necromancer's evolutionary traits, Absolute Necromancer, Maxed Strength Necromancer. This is getting really old. When solo leveling did it, it felt fresh and badass, seeing Sun Jin-woo have a literal shadow army at his beck and call, and using it to turn his greatest enemies into followers. That was awesome. But it's been done so many times now that it's turned me off of a whole branch of magic. And that's my whole thing! I'm a wizard, for God's sake! I still love the idea of someone having an army at their beck and call, but I wanted it to be different. And eventually, I found something that scratched that itch. The story follows Sang-woo, or Sang-yu, depending on the translation. Sang-woo is just another lazy college student who loves gaming. He's just like me for real. One day, he decides to line up at his local awakening center to get his very own system, Awakening as a Hunter, because why not? And the unique skill he gets when he awakens is... cloning. You know, it's not much of a surprise considering it's in the title. Deciding not to show off his new skill to the guild talent scouts, he just goes home and tests it at home, which probably saved him a lot of embarrassment. His clones are essentially naked shadow clones from Naruto, except for two differences. One, each clone lacks a personality, instead following his orders with utmost devotion and inhuman focus. And two, instead of mental training being transferred to the original, it's physical training instead. So by having his clones train, he can gain the effects without work. So what does he do? Sit on his ass playing video games all day while his clones go to the gym for him. A dream come true. No exercise, no diet, no effort, and still losing fat and gaining muscle. I am so jealous! I know I'm already beautiful, but it takes work to look this good. This would certainly save me a lot of time and effort. But yeah, for a lot of the series, that's it. Sang-woo using his new skills to get all the money and benefits of hard work without actually working hard. Some stuff happens later on that changes that, but I'll leave that for you to check out. If I had to describe what makes this series different from all the other solo leveling clones with dungeons and systems, it'd have to be the main character. Sang-woo feels different from pretty much every dungeon hunter manhwa protagonist in a few ways. As much as I love characters like Sun Jin-woo and his many clones, they always lacked something. Each of these guys embodies human perseverance. They're at the bottom of society, and yet they continue to put their lives on the line for the sake of their mandatory backstory sick family members. Even without them getting protagonist powers, they still feel like they would push themselves past their limits and go beyond what they'd ever be expected to. Also, they could care for their families. And as much as that makes me want to root for them, it also makes them pretty unrelatable. I don't know about you, but I'm not a bastion of human perseverance. I'm a lazy wizard that spends his days reading manga, watching anime, and manipulating the forces of the universe to bend reality. I don't break my back putting myself through torture for pennies. I don't work at Amazon. Sang-woo actually feels like a normal person. Not a paragon of virtue or perseverance, but just another lazy schmuck that wants hunter powers. Not because he wants to be a hyper-powerful hunter, but because powers are cool. Who the hell would say no to getting powers? I mean, seriously. You don't need a reason to want superpowers. They're just cool. And what does he do when he gets those powers? Abuse them to make his life easier. Not breaking any laws. Just small life changes that don't hurt anyone. Going to the gym to lose weight while making money from multiple part-time jobs. He's able to do all of that while gaming at home on his computer. and like the lazy fuck he is, he abuses it like crazy to get all the benefits of working hard without putting any effort. I'm an all-powerful wizard, and even I'm jealous of his power. Who wouldn't use a power like that in exactly the same way? Let's face it, if given the chance, we'd all be lazy fucks relying on clones to do our work for us. And the fact that I can see a character that actually uses his powers the same way I would is refreshing. Sang-woo is a lazy fuck, and I find that relatable as hell. But just being relatable isn't enough. Seeing a guy be a lazy fuck can only be so entertaining for so long, which is why character development is a thing. Sure, Sang-woo starts as a fat gamer who relies on his clones for everything, but as the story progresses and bad things start to happen, that I won't spoil, he grows into his own, becoming someone who, while still utilizing his clones to cut corners, learns to put in the same amount of effort as other dungeon/gate protagonists. Also, I just want to say that I love these clones. Despite having supposedly no personality, they sure feel like they do when they want to. These guys are carrying the series, and the fact that Sang-woo so rarely rewards them is crazy. But damn, they are loyal as hell, considering I doubt anyone else would be willing to deal with this workload. Not even Amazon workers can handle this. Anyway, there aren't a lot of things I particularly dislike about the series, but I do think there were some missed opportunities. For a world where anyone could potentially awaken as a hunter and gain skills, the world isn't too different from any other dungeon gate manhwa. I understand that the stats of most awakened aren't particularly good and that it requires intense training, skills, and/or hacks to develop your stats to a superhuman level, but even then, normally in a dungeon gate manhwa, only specific people can awaken as hunters, and there's pretty much no way to forcefully awaken someone as a hunter. This makes it so there's a barrier for entry to becoming a hunter that prevents just anyone from working as a hunter. But in this series, that barrier for entry doesn't exist, and anyone can awaken and then work as a hunter. That sounds like a good thing, but there's a lot that this would change. Not just of the hunter industry, but the world itself. Take the awakening centers from the S-classes that I raised. In this series, the government figures out how to force normal people to awaken as a hunter artificially, and while that sounds like a good thing, it causes nothing but problems. Not only do the artificial awakenings pigeonhole you into a combat awakening, which can cause those with non-combat related potential to never unlock their true abilities, but there's a more pressing concern. With so many new hunters being awakened daily, it floods the market, causing low-level gates to be filled up with weak hunters with subpar training. Thousands die, and the ones who don't are forced to go to a higher level dungeon that they aren't prepared for, as the low-level drops flood the market and lose most of their value. It turns into a giant shit show, which makes sense considering every Joe Schmo is able to gain superpowers now. That's the kind of thing I expected when in the third chapter it's revealed that in America, 80% of the population has already been awakened. You'd think that would have a huge impact on the world, but it barely feels any different than any other solo leveling type world. You'd think in a world where people know you can grow to be able to shatter steel in your hands and master fundamental forces of reality, it'd look a bit different than modern day South Korea. While I don't think that's a full-on flaw of the series, it definitely feels like a big missed opportunity, but I don't think it gets in the way of my enjoyment of the series, really. I just assume that most people get shit skills that aren't worth anything, so they don't bother becoming hunters. Yeah, let's go with that. But these are just my thoughts. I hope you'll check this series out and tell me what you think. Auto-hunting with my clones is a nice take on a genre we've all seen before. It's not reinventing the wheel or anything, but I like it, and I think you will too. Especially with what's currently happening in the manhwa. There were moments in the last few chapters that made me feel legitimately inspired, enough that I decided to make this video before the mountain of other series on my list. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the series, or on any other series you think I should cover. Please like and subscribe, because that does wonders for my motivation when making these videos. And any feedback would be incredible, especially positive feedback. Praise me. I'm Merlin with a Y, and thank you for listening to this old man ramble.